If you want to learn forefoot running, it may be a risky prospect to do so in running shoes, no matter how thin the running shoe may be, because your forefoot strike could be misguided, as synthetic material under the bare foot reduces nerve stimulation on the bare foot, making the reflexes in the leg less responsive or slowed. Your foot strike awareness may be fuzzy, which may be responsible for the misguided foot strike and a less precise forefoot strike landing during running. This is why I have strong objections about not going barefoot when learning forefoot running, because barefoot running magnifies at the highest level the sensory feedback at the feet, which is channeled through the reflexes and nerves within the joints of the lower leg, prompting you to do a better job at avoiding heel strike. When you run, you are more able to do the best you can in landing with a more consistent forefoot strike landing pattern when you run barefoot as compared to running in any type of running shoe, even a minimalist running shoe. And this leads me to talk about my favorite barefoot advocate, Dr. Stephen Robbins, MD at McGill University in Montreal. I provided a link to his website down below in the description box. I really like his deep perspectives on barefoot running and walking. His assessments and perspectives on barefooting are definitely more persuasive than many other barefoot running advocates, and this is why when I discovered his work, my forefoot running journey really got off to a much better start. And here's why. His conclusions allude to the assertion that if you run in minimalist shoes, the vital sensory input at the bottom of the feet is made blurry, especially at the perceptual level, which may cause your forefoot strike landing to take a forceful detour. And that when learning forefoot running, one of the best possible places to start is by running barefoot. Dr. Stephen Robbins is a hard-to-the-core barefoot advocate who is not the biggest fan of minimalist shoes, and he overly emphasizes that if you want to polish your running form and strengthen your feet, improve your balance control, improve your movement efficiency and motor coordination, that going barefoot is the most potent way to achieve real results. Now, in contrast, he hints that substituting barefooting with barefoot-inspired footwear may be a major resistance to your efforts to improve your running form, as any type of underfoot material significantly shrinks the sensory input window at the feet, which may result in reduced forefoot strike accuracy during running and may slow the rate at which your foot strengthens, since your foot's capacity to self-strengthen is heavily dependent on the combined engagement of keeping your feet freely moving, flexing, and physically engaged, as well as the amount of sensory tactile stimulation received at the bottom of the bare foot. Dr. Stephen Robbins gives us a deeper understanding of how learning to run in any type of footwear may result in mechanical ramifications that may incrementally make it harder to run effectively and avoid heel strike. Essentially, Dr. Robbins really drives home the message that when you are barefoot, there's a better chance of all the right mechanical functioning checks and balances falls into place when you run barefoot versus if you run in traditional running shoes and even in minimalist running shoes. Now, when Born to Run was published in parallel with Dr. Daniel Lieberman's work on barefoot runners, and for those unfamiliar with these publications, the central message was that heel strike running, which is the most common running style in most shod populations, tends to generate more impact than forefoot strike running, which is a running style most often associated with barefoot runners, whereby high impact and heel strike running, which is encouraged by most traditional running shoes, may be the main culprit of most running injuries. Based on this evidence, it lies in the assumption that if you run with a forefoot strike, especially in minimalist shoes or when running barefoot, you'll have a better chance of avoiding injury, which is largely true. However, I feel that the barefoot running movement didn't completely lose momentum, but it certainly didn't gain the momentum that it should have. And I think this is because many people opted out of barefoot running and instead ran in minimalist shoes, believing they can achieve the same results, if not very similar results, by running in barefoot-inspired minimalist running shoes versus actually running barefoot. And this is one of the reasons, according to Dr. Robbins, and I couldn't agree more, as to why the barefoot running movement didn't completely take off or go over as a tremendous success. The flavor I get from Dr. Robbins' blog post is that, in a sense, he sort of blames Dr. Daniel Lieberman for the stalled or sluggish progress of the natural running movement, because even though Dr. Lieberman is a big proponent of barefoot running, he is also a big proponent and a strategic marketer of the Vibram 5-finger minimalist barefoot running shoes. In many of his interviews, Dr. Lieberman firmly stresses the importance of barefooting and its role in radically improving running form, improving foot health, and its vitality. But at the same time, Dr. Lieberman strongly recommends that if you don't want to go barefoot, that's perfectly fine. The Vibram 5-fingers are a satisfying substitute. Yet, it may be these remarks that could explain why the barefoot running movement fell flat in a way, because Dr. Robbins believes that opting out of using barefoot running as the prime tool to improve running form and instead go from wearing traditional running shoes for many years to running in minimalist shoes like the Nike Freeze, which aren't really barefoot mimicking shoes, may play into the equation of the reason why many minimalist runners got injured. And this is partly true because I see countless of minimalist runners heel striking when they run. Rather, they should be making initial contact on the front part of their foot like most barefoot runners. And you want to land with a forefoot strike because the underheel cushioning in most minimalist shoes allows the bone shattering heel strike impact to pierce through the body more readily. That is, if you heel strike in minimalist running shoes. There's a good chance that many of these runners didn't run barefoot before taking up minimalist running. And Dr. Robbins really emphasizes and highlights that going barefoot is essentially the only way to prime and condition your body to land with less impact during running, and is absolutely essential, and it's the most reasonable advance to dramatically strengthen your feet, ankles, hips, and core, rather than directly going from traditional running shoes to minimalist running shoes. Dr. Robbins makes the strong argument that going directly from traditional running shoes to running in barefoot-inspired running shoes and learning forefoot running in that way could be why responses are mixed in terms of proper foot strike attainment, because you are unable to fully tap into the sensory resources and environmental inputs needed to enforce a lighter, softer landing strategy when you run, and as a result, it may put you on the wrong path to a running injury. When I stumbled upon Dr. Stephen Robbins' website, I became thoroughly convinced that I needed to go barefoot to truly learn the proper way to run, to get the proper forefoot running technique more hardwired in my system so that's more easily sustainable for when I run in minimalist running shoes, since I wasn't having much luck with running injury-free when I went from many years of running in traditional running shoes directly to running in minimalist running shoes without any barefoot experience. Don't get me wrong, however, I am a big fan of minimalist running shoes. Your feet are certainly able to function more normally. They are more engaged in minimalist running shoes compared to traditional running shoes, which these shoes place chronic stress on the foot by reducing the responsiveness of the foot. But I'm also strongly in favor of barefoot running because of the higher sensory thrust of sensory input helps ensure your stride is more reflexively powered. You are more aware of your forefoot strike intensity, which is going to help steadily push yourself to land lighter. It brings your posture into alignment so that you keep your torso close to foot strike position more effectively and more promptly than if you were to wear minimalist running shoes. Now, my main point to all this is that if you want to learn correctly the forefoot running technique more optimally, at an accelerated rate, you'll have better luck if you do so barefoot rather than wearing barefoot-inspired footwear. If you are really on the fence about barefooting, check out Dr. Stephen Robbins' assessments and insights on the health benefits of barefooting. You'll get excited about barefoot running because you'll learn that barefoot running does a better job of bringing together vital mechanical and reflexive components that make running safe, and these mechanical and reflexive properties may not be fully optimized or brought out in full when you run in any type of footwear, even the Vibram 5-fingers. I think you'll love Dr. Robbins' fresh insights in the way he describes how and why barefoot running really helps fill the blanks for correcting your running form. He really goes into detail about how during barefoot running, you automatically activate nerve cells in the bottom of the feet, which switch on a wide range of reflexes and muscle activation responses that is going to help channel into safer biomechanical responses instead of running haphazardly like so many of us do in traditional running shoes. Dr. Robbins strongly emphasizes to not wear any type of underfoot material, no matter how thin it may be, because it still keeps much of the foot muscles in an inactive state. This piece of evidence is what really fundamentally helped me overcome a lot of my running injuries. And after knowing this, I started taking barefoot running seriously. I started walking barefoot more often. I started running barefoot more often and used and still continue to use barefoot running as a major tool to help re-equip my running form. And it helps make my forefoot running style more automatized so that I can carry over these mechanical skill sets for when I do run in minimalist running shoes. So if you want some good, credible expert advice on barefoot running and walking, check out Dr. Stephen Robbins' blog. I linked it down below in the description box. And to stay updated on all the latest research regarding the health benefits of barefoot running as well as minimalist running, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Have fun out there on the roads. Bye for now.